Welcome to Hero Villains. In your opinion, who would win when Orion and Adam Warlock clash in a confrontation between raging fury and cosmic power?
Orion is the son of Darkseid, raised by Highfather on New Genesis in an effort to escape the shadow of his brutal origin. Although he carries the blood of the tyrant of Apokolips, Orion becomes a righteous warrior, yet one who is constantly torn apart by his inner rage. He possesses physical strength far beyond normal beings, extremely high combat speed, tremendous durability, and is equipped with the Astro Harness that allows him to fly, generate energy bursts, and travel across dimensions. When he enters battle, Orion is like an unstoppable storm. Adam Warlock is a cosmic entity created to achieve perfection. He possesses superior intellect, the ability to manipulate cosmic energy, flight, regeneration, and most importantly, a connection to the soul gem. This gem allows Adam to control souls, absorb life force, and exist beyond the limits of life and death. Warlock does not fight with anger, but with absolute control and cosmic awareness. In this confrontation, Orion represents explosive power and pure warrior will, while Adam Warlock embodies cosmic authority and metaphysical strategy. Before we dive deeper into the analysis, please subscribe and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. Orion is often mentioned as one of the gods who possess the most terrifying levels of power, a symbol of violence and pure fighting will. He is the biological son of Darkseid, born on Apokolips, a world where darkness and war are the laws of existence. However, Orion's fate did not follow the familiar path. From the moment of his birth, he was taken in by the gods of the new gods and raised on New Genesis as a fragile attempt to end the cycle of hatred between two opposing worlds. Orion exists on a level of reality far beyond the conventional multiverse, in a realm known as the Circle of the Gods, more specifically the Fourth World. There, Apokolips and New Genesis are merely two separated halves of an ancient whole, once compared to dwarf galaxies drifting within a far greater plane of existence. All other universes are nothing more than small pockets of air floating within the domain of the gods, fragile and easily crushed. Orion's existence is a never-ending war. The blood of Darkseid flowing through his veins causes rage and destructive instincts to rise without pause. Although he was raised by the light, he must constantly struggle day and night against the darkness within himself. That inner conflict forged a terrifying warrior, one who earned the title of the ultimate killing machine. Orion's combat skill is praised as unmatched, and his ferocity makes both enemies and allies wary. During covert missions on Apokolips, Orion proved why he is considered the greatest warrior. At times, his training sessions turned into true massacres, where entire units were wiped out simply to satisfy his warrior instinct. Orion proved his status not just through reputation, but through moments that shook all of creation. When the god of strength and power Siva extended a hand of destruction, threatening to crush reality and tear apart the cosmic order, it was Orion who stepped forward to stop him. He faced that primal power head on, like a living wall halting a surging wave of annihilation. On another occasion, Orion boldly challenged Superman when the Man of Steel was empowered by the sun. It was a one-on-one confrontation that no member of the Justice League was capable of interfering with. The blows collided with such violence that Superman's massive body was bent like fragile material, showing just how terrifying Orion's raw power truly is. He also once fought the First Son alone in a battle that erupted like a natural disaster. Although he ultimately failed, it must be remembered that this opponent had previously defeated Wonder Woman in her divine state and carried the blood of Zeus. The fact that Orion endured and forced such a being to fight at full power was already an achievement that earned the respect of the gods. Orion's blows were powerful enough to knock Superman flying and to bring down Tachyon, an extremely powerful new god, with a single decisive elbow strike. Later on, Superman himself was placed on equal footing with Orion in power assessments, affirming Orion as the embodiment of war, will, and strength that refuses to bow to any entity. Orion stands as living proof of power. He once directly endured attacks from the Voidhound, an entity that erased 10 star systems in a single, cold experiment. Not only did Orion survive, he also walked through a reactor described as more horrifying than apocalyptic fire pits, where each minute could generate thousands of consecutive nuclear explosions. Even Infinity Man was forced to admit that Orion's latent power exceeded anything he had ever imagined. Orion's speed is nearly synonymous with thought itself. He flew from Earth to New Genesis in less than a heartbeat, without using a boom tube and without relying on his familiar Astro Harness armor. Orion's reflexes reach unbelievable levels when he halted a beam of light fired by Light Ray, an entity regarded as the embodiment of light speed in the realm of the new gods. Even when blinded and exhausted, Orion still caught a bullet while turning his back and hurled it back at the gun that fired it before any witness could realize what had just happened. The peak of his power also lies in the creation of the Source Box, an artifact capable of destroying and then rebirthing the entire universe, even when Orion had been stripped of his divinity. He himself affirmed that he and the other gods could freely step through the flow of time, as if the past and the future were merely doors forever open. Orion possesses regenerative abilities that astonish even the most seasoned warriors. Despite being shot through vital internal organs and falling straight into the burning fire pits of Apokolips, he rose and continued fighting as if his body had never been ravaged. When struck by the deadly radion poison, something powerful enough to bring down many new gods, Orion was barely affected. His senses are so sharp that even Metron failed to realize that Orion had been blinded at that moment. The core power Orion wields is known as the Astro Force, also considered the rage of the Source. This is a nearly limitless stream of energy that flows endlessly within him. The Astro Harness armor that is always associated with Orion is formed from the Astro Force itself and can regenerate according to his will, even after being completely destroyed. Even so, Orion does not need this armor to fly or to wield his power, because the Astro Force has become an intrinsic part of his very existence. Orion once nearly tore Earth apart. With a single blow, he could knock out Superman while openly admitting that the strike was powerful enough to destroy an entire world, but was restrained so that it only left the Man of Steel stunned. Even more frightening, Orion's Astro Force is capable of neutralizing reality warping forces on an extremely high level, turning him into the living wrath of the universe, a being who not only destroys but also enforces order through unshakable will. Orion provides 1/5 of the power for the 5 great powers. The 5 great powers consist of Orion, Dr. Fate, Darkseid, Highfather, and Etrigan. This combined power is so immense that Dr. Fate described it as nearly omnipotent power, and it nearly drove him insane. They used this power to attack an omnipotent entity known as the anti-life entity. When the attack failed, the 5 great powers easily shattered a reality to seal that entity. Even as only 1/5 of the power of the 5 great powers, Orion still possesses unimaginable strength. The true power of Orion is the gift Darkseid gave to his son. The darkness within him is something he never uses and constantly fights against. Yet it is stronger than his physical strength and even greater than the nearly limitless Astro Force. Therefore, everything you see above technically represents Orion holding back his power, especially in terms of physical might. I truly hope you subscribe to the channel. It helps us greatly and you are the best. Thank you very much. Now let us talk about Adam Warlock. From the moment of his emergence, Adam Warlock has been the embodiment of power far beyond ordinary limits. He can exist in the vacuum of space, endure the harshest conditions of the universe without suffering any decline. Warlock's physique is so resilient that injuries, which would be fatal to others, are no more than a passing breeze to him. From his hands, he releases brilliant streams of energy and controls them in many different forms, although the level and nature of this power constantly change depending on each phase of his evolution. From the very first moment he gained consciousness, Adam Warlock clearly sensed the dark ambition of those who created him. Refusing to become a tool of destruction, he rebelled, shattered the chains of fate, and flew straight into the infinite void of space. After enduring a devastating blow from Thor, Adam Warlock was forced to encase himself within a biological cocoon to heal and be reborn, like a chrysalis awaiting transformation. That cocoon was later discovered by Herbert Wyndham, the renowned master of evolution. It was he who named the young entity Adam Warlock and bestowed upon him the Soul Gem in order to stabilize, guide, and focus the chaotic power within him. With that gem, Warlock rose to the stature of a cosmic entity, capable of manipulating energy on a terrifying scale, even absorbing attacks from Doctor Strange or even Galactus and converting them into power for himself. Adam Warlock not only survived within the vast universe, but gradually asserted himself as a supreme will. Adam Adam Warlock is the embodiment of agility and endurance. His reflexes reach unbelievable levels, allowing him to catch a bullet speeding through the air, evade storms' furious lightning, or casually escape blows from an enraged god of thunder. In moments of motion, Warlock moves so fast that he nearly vanishes from sight, and even seasoned warriors like Drax the Destroyer cannot keep up. Adam Warlock's mobility renders all limits indistinct. He can fly at speeds far exceeding that of light, or simply disappear and reappear elsewhere in the blink of an eye. His body knows no fatigue, allowing him to fight continuously without exhaustion. He has endured full power assaults from Thor, Thanos, Silver Surfer, and Hulk, yet still maintained a calm smile as if they were merely necessary trials on the path to growth. Adam Warlock is not overwhelmingly powerful like the giants mentioned above, and at first was only slightly stronger than Spider-Man. However, his true advantage lies in his ability to amplify his strength by expending stored energy. When necessary, Warlock can push his physical capabilities to terrifying levels, sufficient to confront the most powerful entities in the Marvel Universe head-on. This flexibility between intellect, speed, and explosive power has turned Adam Warlock into an unpredictable opponent, one who needs no display to make the entire universe wary. When pushed to the brink of fatal injury, Adam Warlock does not fall. He enters a state of hibernation like an ancient ritual of rebirth, only to return with power greater than before. This mechanism turns each brush with death into a step of evolution, ensuring that enemies can never be certain they have truly won. Warlock's power allows him to manipulate matter and energy on a massive scale. There was a time when, through sheer will alone, he transformed Thanos into an immobile granite statue, a condition that only death itself could reverse. From his hands, Warlock releases many forms of energy, including refined mystical power, spells of such a level that even the Sorcerer Supreme must acknowledge their terror. With extreme concentration, Warlock can slow, stop, or even reverse time. He manipulates timelines, layers them together, and bends the future with a single thought, though the price is an immense amount of energy that must be absorbed. In addition, Warlock possesses telepathy, clairvoyance, and profound empathy, while also protecting himself against similar mental ability. Even more astonishing, he can resist the influence of the Infinity Stones, remaining nearly immune to the reality warping power of the Reality Stone and the time manipulation authority of the Time Stone. Adam Warlock is not only the bearer of the Soul Gem, but also an entity intrinsically bound to it. That bond is so strong that he can awaken the gem's power even when it is not in his possession. Even when others attempt to wield that power against him, Warlock can still stand firm, as if the Soul Gem always listens to and answers his will. Adam Warlock's senses extend across a cosmic scale. His perceptive ability is nearly on par with that of Silver Surfer, allowing him to detect the slightest disturbances rippling through space. Warlock can trace the paths of those who have teleported, precisely determining where they will reappear, as if every route in the universe leaves behind its own echo for him to hear. These mystical senses are even more refined and acute than those of Stephen Strange, crossing the boundary between magic and perception. With such stature, Adam Warlock is ranked among entities within the cosmic power hierarchy. His strength is sufficient to stand alongside Odin, and certainly to rival infamous names such as Thanos, Thor, Nova Prime, or the highest level heralds of Galactus. Warlock is not merely a hero or a guardian, but a convergence point of soul, will, and cosmic power. In addition, there is one more intriguing fact. A version of Adam Warlock from a parallel reality inherited the title and power of the Living Tribunal after the predecessor was destroyed by the Beyonders. He may be the third most powerful entity in all of existence. Orion, the son of Darkseid, was the first to sense the chaotic tremor spreading outward and threatening the fragile order of New Genesis. He hurled himself into deep space like a living spear, carrying the rage that had been imprisoned within him since the moment of his birth. This was not merely the reflex of a warrior, but the instinctive call of war blood screaming through his veins. Adam Warlock also perceived the imbalance rising within the flow of life. The gem upon his forehead glowed softly, yet with immense authority, not born of anger, but of a duty to preserve the harmony of creation. Warlock understood that a great upheaval was drawing near. The two entities met at an ancient ruin drifting through the infinite void, a place that had once witnessed the collapse of civilizations long erased by time. Orion did not bother to speak. To him, every threat had only one inevitable end: total annihilation. Adam Warlock was different. He observed and analyzed every movement and every pulse of energy, seeking to understand the true nature of his opponent. Orion charged like a cosmic storm, each punch carrying the power of a new god's war deity. Space around them fractured, and asteroids shattered merely from the shockwaves rippling out. Adam Warlock erected cosmic energy fields to defend himself, driven back repeatedly, yet his gaze remained terrifyingly calm. At this stage, Orion clearly held the advantage in physical strength and speed, overwhelming his opponent with raw power. However, Adam Warlock did not seek victory through brute force. He began to alter the rhythm of the battle, bending reality within a limited scope, slowing Orion's movements and temporarily severing him from his familiar energy flow. The more restrained Orion became, the more violently his rage ignited, making his attacks heavier but also stripping them of necessary control. Warlock exploited that very weakness, the legacy of Darkseid and the inner war that had never truly ended. Buried memories and deep-rooted conflicts within Orion's mind surfaced like illusions, causing him to falter for a brief but fateful moment. When Orion surged forward to deliver a finishing blow, Adam Warlock did not evade. He placed his hand upon Orion's forehead and unleashed an attack upon his soul. Orion's body froze, then collapsed in exhaustion as his fury was forcibly extinguished. The winner is Adam Warlock. I hope you enjoyed this battle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Follow me if you liked it. That is today's video. Thank you very much.